Hello, everyone. My name is Bekfi. I'm the head of Global Pharmacovigilance Operations at Biomapas, and my guest today is Mina Awad, a local pharmacovigilance expert from Middle East and North Africa region. Mina is originally from Egypt, but he resides in the United Arab Emirates. He has more than 15 years experience in the pharma industry, more than 10 years of experience in pharmacovigilance. Mina, welcome. Thanks for joining me today.
Thanks, Albert. It's usually a pleasure talking together and speaking about pharmacovigilance. I do love talking about pharmacovigilance and specifically in the Middle East, North African region, the updates, the news. If you remember, when we usually meet, we exchange the updates either globally or within the region.
Indeed. When we last met face-to-face, Mina, I think it was in Amsterdam in the Drug Safety Congress last year. And you told me that there are many updates coming in the region in terms of legislation from the authorities. What are the hottest recent updates from the Middle East and North Africa, Mina?
Yes, since last October, we have had a huge update in the Middle East. Many authorities has released new circulars, new guidelines. So basically, in United Arab Emirates, for example, the Emirati Drug Establishment was established at the beginning of the year, and they are going through the preparation of new updated version of the pharmacovigilance guidelines that should be released within 2025. They have even started updating the ways of communication, the addresses, and there are plans to introduce as well inspections in United Arab Emirates. We can speak about this further on. In Kuwait as well, the authorities became very, very active. A lot of circulars have been released in the during the end of 2024 and beginning of 2025. There are new requirements with respect to the nomination of the local safety officers in Kuwait, in the submissions of aggregate safety reports, as well as ICSRs and spontaneous reports. There is as well a specific requirement when submitting the PSURs in Kuwait. So there is a requirement of a PSUR summary in a specific format that is requested by the authorities. They are planning as well in Kuwait to release the first good pharmacovigilance practice guidelines, which has been drafted, I would say, years ago, and the new regulators are now in the final stages to release it. So huge updates in Kuwait, specifically in United Arab Emirates. For the rest of the countries, major countries like Saudi Arabia and Egypt, they are continuing in their practices, and yeah, they are following up strictly to enhance the practices and their oversight on the pharmacovigilance activities done by the different marketing authorization holders.
Clear. It was very interesting about Kuwait with PSUR submissions. Maybe you can share something about changes in United Arab Emirates with the establishment of Emirati Drug Establishment, like any changes, updates you might be able to share with us today?
Yes, basically the pharmacovigilance in United Arab Emirates was managed previously by the Ministry of Health and Prevention. And at the beginning of 2024, there were discussions and plans to just transfer the authority of management of drugs and medications and food from Ministry of Health and Prevention to drug establishments which resembles the FDA, I mean the US FDA or even the Saudi FDA. So the EDE, which is the Emirati Drug Establishment, was established and legalized by law, and they started to recruit the professionals and leaders of the establishment. And by the beginning of 2025, they transferred all the communication channels to the new authority, the new establishment. So, for example, the submission of ICSRs have moved from being to the Ministry of Health to the new establishment. As well, the new establishment is assigned to update the guidelines and regulations with respect to pharmacovigilance. And I would share with you one of the latest ones, which is, I would say, has huge impact on the practice. So with respect to the timelines for submitting serious adverse events, there is a new requirement that was published and mentioned in the law that all marketing authorization holders are required to submit a preliminary report of the serious adverse events to the drug establishment within 5 calendar days.
Wow.
And then follow by submitting the fully processed report within the normal timeline of 15 calendar days. So this is, I would say, simple but a huge update in the practice because
Indeed.
it will impact.
I would assume these requirements are for the local adverse events, right? That are emerging from UAE. The foreign serious ones still have the 15-day submission timeline, or?
Yeah, for United Arab Emirates, the requirement is only to submit domestic cases, either the preliminary report or for the processed report. There is no requirement to submit global case.
Okay. Still, you need to set up a proper process to submit these in 5 days, for sure.
Yes, definitely. This will require an update in the local procedures and setup guidelines. I would not say the guidelines will come from the authorities, but the local policies and local procedures need to be updated.
Okay, very interesting. Thanks for sharing, Mina. And what I hear is that authorities are very active in the region in terms of legislation, making legislation, updating it. Are they also active in inspecting compliance to these legislations? Can you share some of your experience with inspections in the region? What authorities are more active than others? I don't know, maybe anything about this?
Yes, I would say I will give the role model for inspection management to the Egyptian authority and Saudi FDA, because currently they are the most active authorities when it comes to inspection. They do have right now robust system for inspections, robust teams, well educated, and they do have risk-based approach to issue their annual inspection plans. So currently, the Saudi FDA, the Egyptian drug authorities, are doing full inspections based on their risk-based approach to all the marketing authorization holders across the countries. The update is that in United Arab Emirates, the Emirati Drug Establishment has initiated their activities in inspections. They have already started inspecting some marketing authorization holders, and they during last month in February we had a meeting with the regulator, and they mentioned they are issuing comprehensive plan for inspection. They will intensify their inspections for the marketing authorization holders. There will be a dedicated section in the newly published guidelines for inspections, and so they will be increasing their activity in inspection. So I would say that during end of 2025, 2026, we will see a huge update and progress in terms of inspections in United Arab Emirates specifically. For Kuwait, still yet, they are aiming to just initiate the pharmacovigilance practice and ensure that the companies are well educated and they do have the right calibers to perform the activities. But at this stage, we don't expect for the rest of GCC rather than Saudi and United Arab Emirates. For other authorities, inspections are carried in Jordan as well by the Jordanian FDA in Sawai, but no further updates.
Thanks, Mina. I guess you have some experience with the inspections themselves. Can you share some info about what are the common findings during the inspections? So what are the things that marketing authorization holders should focus on in these countries?
Yes, I would go, for example, for Saudi inspection, because we do have a lot of experience and they have been inspecting marketing authorization holders for years now. And I would say common findings that I usually noticed is within the pharmacovigilance agreements between the different parties, the Saudi FDA inspectors are very keen to ensure that all the obligations and activities for each of the parties should be clearly described in the agreement, showing the responsibilities of different parties, either the marketing authorization holder, the local agent and distributor, and if there is a third party, this should be as well clearly described in the pharmacovigilance agreement. And so this is one of the most common findings. I have never been through Saudi FDA inspection without seeing this as a finding. In 95% of the agreements, is something to be considered. Another one major finding, which is usually classified major and very important to the Saudi FDA inspectors, is the level of authority for the local Saudi QPPV. They usually are looking for empowering the Saudi QPPV, and they, during their inspection, they are willing to see that there is a real oversight by the Saudi QPPV, a real interaction and real input from the Saudi QPPV to the processes and different processes and policies within to the marketing authorization holder. In Egypt, I would say the same finding for the pharmacovigilance agreements. They are usually very keen on this. And another topic that is usually covered and a lot of findings are issued in Egypt is a local PSSF, which is the local pharmacovigilance subsystem file. It is a specific requirement in Egypt, and it has a specific template, periodicity of updates. So they are usually very keen to thoroughly investigate the PSSF and ensure that it's regularly updated. All the sections are completed as per the template. So this is a great area of, I would say, findings. Some of them are measured as per the Egyptian inspections.
Thank you, Mina. Interesting. You mentioned as a key finding the pharmacovigilance agreements. I guess it's because according to my experience, many marketing authorization holders have partners, maybe multiple business partners or distributors in the region, and this is how they operate. What happens with this is that the pharma companies, the marketing authorization holders usually leave local pharmacovigilance activities to their partners locally. Why do you think, we talked about it, of course, already in the past, but why do you think this can be risky in your experience?
Yeah, to be honest, from my experience, the main risk is that at the partners level and local distributors levels in different countries in the region, there may be one person who is responsible for quality assurance, pharmacovigilance, or regulatory and pharmacovigilance, and this person, in many cases, might not be well experienced about pharmacovigilance. This is, for me, is a huge risk because you are risking your operations of pharmacovigilance when you do have the one that should be expert at the local level is not well educated and knowledgeable about pharmacovigilance. So this is, I would say, risk from company perspective, from marketing authorization holder perspective. But from regulatory perspective, authorities perspective, I would say there are multiple risks. In the region, we do have different business models, and you have just mentioned, in some cases, one marketing authorization holder could have more than business partner or distributor, and you should ensure that you do have the specific agreements that is clarifying clearly what is the responsibilities for each distributor and partners. And as well, at some times you can find a third party involved, and I would say this will create additional risk for the authorities. They wanted to make sure usual that the responsibilities are truly determined in the agreements and carried on ground, not just ticking the box. So when you have different, I would say, players in the pharmacovigilance operation at local level, the risk comes from the fact that you have to ensure that the local procedures as well as the global procedures ensure that pharmacovigilance activities are carried on harmony and in alignment with the local requirements and guidelines. So these are basically the risks, and this what needs an experienced pharmacovigilance expert to guide the marketing authorization holder on issuing the agreements in alignment with the requirements, and even to monitor and to have an oversight on the practices at different stakeholders.
Thank you, Mina. Thank you for all the information today. Thank you for the experience and share with us. Thank you for your time.
Usually my pleasure. Albert, your dear friend, and I'm happy to talk and exchange experience in pharmacovigilance together.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Mina.
Thank you.